A Superior Court judge has ruled that so-called never residents cannot vote in any North Carolina elections. The decision announced this week confirmed a result that Republican groups had touted as a legal victory 2 weeks earlier.
The Republican National Committee and North Carolina Republican Party challenged a state law that allowed some, quote, never residents to cast ballots in this state. The issue played a role in the months-long dispute over the outcome of the 2024 state Supreme Court election.
All right, joining us now, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Khalif. Whenever you talk about people voting in elections, you have to go through the question of what is constitutionally allowed in terms of our election process. How difficult does it get when we talk about what your constitutional rights are to vote?
It's extremely difficult, especially when you have states that are trying to implement rules, and you have some rules that may conflict with federal rules. I mean, federal rules will preempt any state rules anytime. This is what I start with. I think this will be appealed. It'll be appealed to our Court of Appeals. I suspect there are some constitutional issues that may be at play here going forward, and they mentioned that in the interim. The Republican argument is that the Constitution doesn't allow residents to, that only allows residents to vote. So these folks that are never residents are children of parents that live here that have never resided in our state, but will still fall under their parents' individual residents. That's how they've been given that opportunity to vote, and the Superior Court judge has ruled that that would not qualify them to vote, and I don't think that's as elementary as the argument actually is.
Does this decision just apply to state elections? Could you see this going further to like federal elections?
I think it's extremely limited to state elections now, but that's why I say I think that this conflict of this Uniform Military and Overseas Voter Act is the provision that it strikes down that provision within there. But there are other federal provisions that this one can't stop. So that's why you have an issue when folks would go to the polls and say, well, am I allowed to vote in this one, but I wasn't allowed to vote in the state one? That's going to cause confusion to the voter, which the courts don't want to have. That's why I think it's ripe for appellate process.
I was going to say, is this where this ends, or do you? What sort of appeals do you see, and how soon are we going to see them?
This is only the beginning. I mean, and rightfully so. Our court systems start with district court, but district court, these type of cases are always heard in Superior Court. So you had two routes. You could have it in Superior Court, and you could have moved for it to go to federal court, right? But then they would have challenged that this is a state election issue, and it would have got kicked right back to Superior Court. So it's exhausted that remedy there. It's at Superior Court. The next step is to go to the appellate court or North Carolina Court of Appeals. I think after that, this is a case that can be in front of the Supreme Court, and it would be ironic that the case that started in the Supreme Court with Riggs and Jefferson Griffin, it now ultimately end in the same place in our North Carolina Supreme Court. I think that would probably be the final resting place. I don't see this going to the United States Supreme Court, but I do think that it would work its way to our North Carolina Supreme Court, and they would have to make some type of final resolution, again, because this is a state court election issue, not state court, but a state election issue, and not a federal issue.
Khalif, would it be as simple as the state Supreme Court, and I say simple very lightly, but defining what a resident of North Carolina would be, saying that you have to live here, and then would this also have to get kicked over to the General Assembly? Would you have to actually change anything on the books, or is it just simple, the court interprets resident as such?
Yeah, I think nothing about this would be simple or elementary. This is all complex, convoluted, and I'd step back and say a couple portions. Jason, your question about the striking down right now, and it currently would apply to both state and federal election. I just think that's why it's going to be raising to the level of an appellate issue, because you can't preempt or tell the federal elections what to do. Regarding Julian's issue, I think there are some elementary aspects of it. Have you had a parent that's resided here, and has that been your permanent residence at some point? If you're serving in the military, yes, you don't live in North Carolina, but at some point you have parents that have lived here. Where are you supposed to vote, I guess, would be the question that Democrats that are fighting this would ask.
Okay, again, our chief legal analyst, Khalif Khalif, weighing on that for us. Khalif, thank you.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.